Someone once said, so many people spend their health gaining wealth, only for years later they have to turn around and spend their wealth to regain their health. We live in such a superficial society that has unconsciously conditioned the masses that if you want to live a good life, it's a must that you spend hours upon hours on the clock at work just so you can acquire these quote unquote finer things in life, you know? But the more hours you spend on the clock, the more you're neglecting your health, the more you're neglecting quality time with loved ones, the more you're neglecting so many things. And that's just not fair to yourself. You're doing yourself a huge disservice. Now, I know you've got bills to pay and all, and I understand that, but what I'm saying is to stop doing frivolous spending that's going to keep you trapped in the rat race, that's going to keep you trapped into continuously spending more money than what you make. And that's unfair to yourself. We live in a superficial society, and so many people are spending money that they don't have just so they can try and impress people that they don't even know or like. Society tells us that we need to acquire so many things in order to be happy. So many finer things. That's what society tells us we need to possess. We need to acquire. And many of us are hypnotized into striving to acquire these so-called finer things at the point of neglecting our health and neglecting our loved ones. There's more to life than just working. And that's why so many individuals, they're not living, they're simply existing, going to a job that they hate, clocking in, doing what they got to do, then leave, only to get up and do it all over again the next day and the day after that and so on. Both of my parents were blue collar workers, and my sister is a blue collar worker, and my two brothers are blue collar workers. I'm a blue collar worker. I've been working since I was 16, W-2 jobs. But before 16, my brothers and I used to do landscaping with our neighbor. And, so I've been working blue collar jobs for decades. And one thing that I have learned is that learn from my parents. I learned so many things of what not to do from my parents, and one of those things is to just consistently work and neglect your health. Because if you don't focus on, if you're only working all the time, you're neglecting your health. And when it comes to your diet is gonna end up becoming trash, because a lot of times you're gonna go to these fast food restaurants out of convenience just so you can put something on your stomach. But that's not healthy. That's not healthy. And that's why so many individuals who are constantly working so many hours are one day going to have to use all of that wealth that they accrued over the years to regain their health. Hopefully. And of course, it is a must that we work in order to be, good citizens. Do what we have to do. But there's life is so short. And time goes by so fast, and you don't want to waste so many of your years that you could be enjoying life at the job, doing something that you don't love, you don't even like, you just do it to get a paycheck. But you owe it to yourself to take some time to yourself, spend some quality time with yourself so you can find out what is it that you're passionate about. Invest in that. And perhaps one day you'll be able to make some residual income from that. I am investing in inspiring others with my words, with my books, because that is what I'm passionate about. Now, I enjoy my job as well. I'm a delivery driver for those who don't know. I also work in a warehouse. But I enjoy my job as well because my job gives me the opportunity to spend a lot of quality time with myself. And that's how I've discovered what I like, what I'm passionate about in life. My job has allowed me to do a lot of self-reflecting, a lot of soul searching, a lot of understanding myself and the things that cause me to react in certain ways sometimes. You know, that's why I'm always talking about the benefits of spending quality time with yourself and learning to love yourself. Because if you do so, you're going to definitely, the future version of yourself will thank you for it. I have an 8-year-old daughter, and I made it a point to not have multiple jobs to where I'm away from home, so and not being able to see my daughter grow up over the years. I made it a point to be there, to be at the schools whenever she would have an event at the school, to be there in the audience watching and cheering her on, to help her with her homework, to give her fatherly advice in any way I can. I made it a point. I make it a point to be at home and spend quality time with my wife and dating each other and learning to love each other and doing things with each other that couples do. Because the truth of the matter is, if I'm away from home and always working, I can't do that. Also, if I'm working so much, you know, it can be tempting to, like I said, I'm a delivery driver, and it can be very tempting at times to drive past fast food restaurants, then get something to eat. I pass them every single day I'm at work. Burger King, Whataburger, Chick-fil-A, Pizza Hut, Little Caesars, and so on, you know. But I've been practicing self-discipline, and I have disciplined myself to know that eating processed food consistently out of convenience is not a wise thing to do, especially at 48. You know, I can't eat the way that I used to when I was 25, which is like 23 years ago. I can't eat that same way anymore. Nor should I allow myself to work so much to the point to where it's hurting my health, you know? And that's what so many people do. They allow themselves to remain undisciplined, and their diet is trash, and their relationships that they have is wasting away because they're not home to invest in it. You know, they are at work, and you're doing yourself a huge disservice if you are prioritizing your working over your health, over your family, over God. One thing I can say with absolute certainty is that at the end of your life, You're not going to be wishing you spent more hours at work just so you can accumulate more of the so-called finer things in life. No. At the end of life, it won't be the finer things that matter. It'll be the little things that matter. The little things that money cannot buy. Things like love, respect, and peace, joy, and a whole host of other little things. Those things that money cannot buy. It'll be the little things that truly matter in life. So I strongly urge you, I strongly encourage you to stop placing things, prioritizing things first. Instead, put your health first, put your family first, put God first. Because you owe it to yourself to improve your quality of life while you still have time. You owe it to your loved ones so that you can be around longer with them and make the most out of this precious gift called life. Hey, we all owe it to ourselves to do better and be better so we can make our individual worlds better. If you like the words that I have shared in this video, then by all means, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you haven't already, then head over to Amazon and go purchase my book, Becoming the Man That I Was Meant to Be. I promise you that you will be greatly inspired by my journey. All right. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. God bless.